All right, well, let's look at how the different parts of our brain mature. So I'm going to turn the page, and we're going to look at how different brain regions mature based on our age. So to begin with, we're going to look at the limbic system, and we're going to compare it to the prefrontal cortex. So the limbic system, this includes things like our amygdala, our hypothalamus, and our hippocampus. One of the regions that the region we're gonna compare to, like I said, is our prefrontal cortex. So we're gonna make a table here to compare and contrast these two systems. So the limbic system, it is responsible for things like risk-taking and motivation, our sleep cycle, and our long-term memory. Our reward seeking, and our sensation seeking. All of these things, we have these skills in our limbic system by the time we're about 11 to 12 years old. This is when we finally get into our own sleep cycle. We can remember our own memories. We don't need to rely on our parents. We seek rewards because we want to do well. We look for emotional gains where we gain like a rush from maybe taking a risk. We get motivated, personally motivated, and take personal risks. And that all happens mainly by the time you're about 11 or 12 years old. All that stuff is going to generally be matured to its maximum extent. The prefrontal cortex then is in charge of some different aspects of our behavior. It involves things like decision making and our ability to plan, so planning, and our working memory. So like, what did you learn last month or last week? Actually being able to use your memory, your short-term memory, and your medium-term memory. Also prioritizing, so knowing what to do when, resisting impulses. It's like if your friend's like, yo man, you should vape with me. And you're like, well, I want to be your friend, but I don't want to do something like that. That's silly. That would be what you use your prefrontal cortex to resist that impulse to just want to do something because your friend's doing it, but having that own self-control there, resisting those impulses. Organizing, so keeping your backpack and your room nice and tidy, and delaying gratification. That's like, if you get your allowance and you want to spend it right away, if you can delay your gratification, it means that maybe you get your allowance and then you save it up for a while and you decide that you're going to spend it later on. The last to mature here in this list of things that our prefrontal cortex does, our last to mature, the very final aspect of our brain that matures, is our ability to coordinate our thoughts and emotions, which means we can pair our thoughts with our emotions and we can coordinate them and say, hey, the reason my thoughts are kind of crazy right now is because I'm feeling a little crazy. Or the reason that my thoughts are happy is because I'm happier. The reason my thoughts are sad is because I'm sad. So actually coordinating those two together is the last thing that finally matures. All of these things in this list that are controlled by our prefrontal cortex, these things are mostly mature not until you're 15 to 16 years old. And they continue to mature into your 20s. So the brain, our ability to make decisions and plan and use our working memory and prioritize and resist impulses and organize and delay gratification and coordinate our thoughts and emotions really are not finally mature until our 20s. So you're on your journey now as a teenager, but hopefully this gives you a little more insight into the fact that yes, your brain is mature, but it is still maturing. So let's keep learning. Let's keep getting that and growing that white matter, myelinating those axons. Let's do that.